And we're back to Twitch. Nice to see you again. Welcome to Voyage of the Fallen Star. I am Zach, your GM, and also was a major contributor to this adventure arc brought to you by Dungeon in a Box. I am joined by the crew of the Cerulean Wind. Well, since we're starting off on sort of a very easy note today, especially compared to the last couple sessions, instead of just doing our normal introduction, we'll just jump right into role-playing and say, like, you guys are now sailing north towards Giant Spur, right? Your first sea combat, like major sea combat, just behind you as dawn, breaks over the over the ocean, over the Great Sea. And so, yeah, how are you guys doing as characters?
The captain is really rather chuffed by the whole thing. He thinks it's wonderful. He's back on the open sea. No more of this hot, stuffy cave nonsense. We got some new crew. We got some fat loots. We are done with the hot and stuffy Blazing Isles, and we are on to bigger and better things.
And you left out. We survived another run-in with the pretty scary necromancer guy.
He's an interesting character. I mean, I don't know. Omar wasn't afraid. Was your character terrified? Wow, that's embarrassing.
No. Not terrified so much as, well, let's just say that it strongly feels like it's not going to be the last time that we meet. And my character, Varanus, decided to secretly snatch one of his, what looks like a magic bean, right, from his belongings that we returned to him. So maybe he's just a little, a little nervous, a little on edge about that, but probably even more so than that, curious to figure out what that is. It's maybe one of our only clues to learning more about this guy.
Right.
I think Sweetness is pretty happy with how all that went. I think pretty impressed with, I think, the way we all sort of pulled together real quickly, developed a plan, and put it into action to, I would say, pretty great effect.
Yeah, we executed the plan well.
Yeah, I think Sweetness is particularly pleased that his bomb worked and exploded as planned, and is sort of eager to do some more experimentation with this doom powder, and perhaps even with explosives in particular, as may have lit a pyromantic, love affair, perhaps, for Sweetness.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
So, eager to get into port and, see what he can learn, see what he can find out.
Let me just cauterize that wound.
Glad we saved some people, too.
Yeah, I wish we could have saved
two
more.
of them.
Obviously, it was a tough fight. We did what we could.
We did what we could. We absolutely flourished under difficult conditions. We thrived under the pressure of the sea combat. I've never seen the beautiful ship that we're on, that I definitely know the name of, perform so admirably.
Wow. The ship you are a bosun of.
The Cerulean Wind. It came to me. There it is.
How could you not know that?
A bard has so many names to remember.
There's so much lore in my head.
So the Cerulean Wind, didn't end up taking much damage in the fight overall either. Mostly because, fortunately, the weapons of the Rifter ships missed pretty much every time.
Well, because the cerulean wind was weaving through the waves, cutting a path between the fire of our enemies so deftly.
I also think the captain and the first mate did an admirable job of drawing fire, right? Like counterattacking and threatening them, drawing them their attention away from the ship.
Lest we forget.
Absolutely.
Yes, that was essential. And, of course, the first mate also staying in it till the very end and making sure that Far Elf didn't disrupt that sacrifice to the gods.
Gotta make the play work. That's the job.
Yeah. And, Hal definitely took a piece of action because he was at the helm at that point, and a couple of his Rifter former kin, regional expatriate kind of situation. They put a hurting on him, but he put it back, and he showed his loyalty and his dedication to the crew when he would kill his own countrymen to defend the ship. All right, so yeah, by your calculations, you have roughly a week of sail between here and Giant Spur. Why don't we just move over to the Great Sea? So, as usual, we see the Blazing Islands, right? You guys came from the southwestern corner, and are now making sail towards Giant's Spur. Still not that far from Greyhaven, all things considered, but you are going off of the usual trade routes. So you notice the sort of like dotted lines making their way. Those are sort of the normal shipping lanes. So they're patrolled by, the Greyhaven Navy and things like that to protect trade in the region. But outside of that, things could get a little more dangerous, more unpredictable. But yeah, if you want to, you can chart more or less a straight shot to Giant Spur, or that's at least the direction the compass is indicating. And of course, Magnus reminds Bungo. He's like, "Hey, Bungo, didn't we get some clue about something near Giant Spur about the treasure?"
To jog my memory, did I?
Well,
What's her name? Kate's treasure.
Well, I know about Scarlet Kate's treasure, of course, but I don't remember a clue about Giant's Spur.
Don't you recall? Any who stands on the trader's shoals outside the Giant Spur can trace the path of the Morning Star to the true resting place of Scarlet's treasure.
Wow,
There
your
you
memory
go.
is incredible, Varanus.
Bravo.
I should teach you a couple of my songs or stories in case I forget them.
Yes, and the name of the ship
The
is...
ship, yeah, it's written down.
Hal's like, it's written right on the side.
Right, yeah. I'm short, so I don't usually look over too far. Okay, so, well, that's great. So
Yeah.
we need to stand on the eastern shore?
Trader's Shoals.
Right.
Trader's Shoals.
Yes.
Not to be confused with traitor.
Right.
Trader.
Yeah, trader, as in merchants.
So yeah, you guys would have heard maybe enough about Giant Spur since it's sort of like still within the it's still pretty close to the main continent. Basically, it is a massive, massive spire that was built by giants supposedly aeons ago, and around the base of and now, right, it's, I mean, aeons ago, right, things have come and gone, and now pretty much the spire is sort of a last little outpost, or, you know, last place ships can sort of dock and resupply between sort of the coastal regions and dragon territory to the west.
Right.
Tim Allen.
So if you
Okay.
notice on the map, right, you see the sort of dotted lines, right, are the ones near
Yeah.
the shoals, or the continent to the east, but then to the west there are more like dashed lines, and those represent trade routes that are within dragon territory.
Oh.
So if you head any more west of Giant Spur, basically you're wandering into dragon territory. And Varanus, you know a little bit more about that. Because dragon territory means the territory of none other than Lux, the magnificent empress of the Great
I
Sea.
think you mean Lux, the terrible villain who is my arch nemesis. That's her title.
Right?
Well, it depends who you talk to. If you're in dragon territory or not, probably.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Also,
I think
your
in
arch
all
nemesis.
honesty, yes. There, you know, I could just imagine, like, as we're sailing, you know, Varanus looking at the map and sort of peering and glaring off west, contemplating, as much as he would love to go straight there and confront Lux. He's not a total fool. He knows that we're not in any position to do that right now. Maybe one day, but that's very much on his long-term to-do list.
Very good, very good. Is my mic better, by the way, everyone? Okay.
Sound good to me.
You sound fine, yeah.
All right. All right. So during this sea voyage, there was a couple there were a couple points of order, if I recall, that came up during the adventures in the Blazing Isles. Specifically, the treatment of prisoners was kind of an issue. Speaking of which, you do have a prisoner still below decks, Gilbert Saltwick, the instigator of those former crew members who attempted the murder of Hal.
And to remind everybody, this was because he thought Hal was in league with the Black Rifters, right?
So far, yeah, basically, that's what he says, though, because you had those, you know, mental probings, Omarin, you learned, yeah, that Gilbert had perhaps ulterior motives or other connections that might be more than just ill will against Hal's place of origin.
So, we are selling this guy into slavery, right?
That
Okay.
seems like something that should be talked about amongst the crew.
That was a joke. But like, it wouldn't be. I mean, like, it would be ironic, right? But I don't know. What should we do with the prisoner?
He knows we have the star, right?
That's true.
Can we
That
not
seems a
drop
bit
him?
risky.
Can we not drop him with the nearest authority?
Yeah, is there some sort of authority that would be willing to take him in? Like we could.
Would it be bad if
Hey,
we
he's a-
told someone who we'd prefer not to know, right? That we have a piece of the star, or that we're looking for it, or
I mean, theoretically, but that's a very abstract risk. Like, we're sailing away. I mean, like, What's like?
If anyone wants to get more details about Giant Spur, they can make me a history check.
Oh.
Jack,
Sure.
Yes.
while that's happening, are there any sort of like small keys that are in this area that might be deserted?
Well, you've already sailed out of, you were already sort of most of a day's sail away by the time the sea battle happened, and so now you're a little further. So if there are, you're gonna find them at random. Yeah. That's to say, you could try to, orient yourself in that direction, right? Keep your eye out for birds and, signs of islands, but maybe that would cause you to veer a little bit and not make Giant Spur quite as fast. But, yeah.
I mean, my thought is that we leave this guy on an island, with, like some food and water, and we'll just come back and get him when we're done.
Or just tell someone he's there. Be like,
Yeah,
hey.
yeah. Give us
Yeah.
some lead. Give like, hey, there's a guy. He's got some gold on him. If you go pick him up, and then, that gives us some runway.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
All right. Well, how about, someone can give me a survival check. But I'm gonna say it's with disadvantage because you're in the wide ocean with very little to go on. To try and find a random island.
I'll use a story point for this, Zach.
All right.
Good call.
Well, that just...
Oh,
And he gets the
the
crit.
Wow.
Captain knows.
Come
The
on,
captain
critical.
knows. All
It's
right,
almost
here
like
we
he's done
go.
this before.
Yeah. All right. So, basically on your way, and with that crit, and because you used your story point, right? How did the story point come into effect? What'd you do? Or what?
Amarin was looking at the birds, staring at the sky, trying to find one of these things. And then he dejectedly sort of walked to the side of the ship and leaned over the rail and looked down and then said, "Oh, I recognize those fish. They always swim towards reefs or islands. Let's follow them." And then he followed them right to the juiciest little key. Low
Cool.
coral, not too high, very hard to see from the water, very unlikely to get accidentally discovered.
Wow. All right, yeah, and I'll say even with the critical too, you find one that's not even out of your way, so you won't even lose time in having dumped this guy off. But we'll say it's going to happen during some time of the journey, so it doesn't quite happen yet. But
Dope.
anyone else want a history check?
I had rolled one for the
yeah.
Giant Spur knowledge. Yeah,
Sure.
I got a 12.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
got
got
a 12
16.
and 16. Cool. All right. Let's see. So, yes, the Giant Spur. Let's see. Bungo, you've heard a little bit more of a myth, right? With your 12. So, you've heard that the Giant Spur was constructed by a giant queen who wanted to reach into the heavens to reunite with her lost love. So that's one of the origin sort of myths of the Spur, basically, or one of the dominant ones. And Varanus, let's see. Yeah, you've heard things a little more frequently. Right? It's on the edge of more recent stories. It's on the edge of Red Dragon territory, and so a lot of trade comes through there, especially people going from Dragon territory into the sort of the Greenwald, right? The main continent area. So it's a good place of information and cultural exchange as well. Um, but you know, right, that the spire itself has been conquered and reconquered by different factions during its long epics of history that has just stood there. And now its sort of primary visitors are pilgrims, um, uh, pilgrims who go there to worship this deity known as the Oarsman. So you know, and these, yeah, it's the Oarsman, right? Is sort of like a sort of minor deity related to gods, you know, other gods of the seas, and the Oarsman is sort of known to look out for those who were lost at sea. So people give offerings sometime to the Oarsman, you know, to keep people safe, right? If they're having a journey at sea, or you know, as prayers for the souls for those who were lost. So yeah, that's what you get, right? And as we said, like the trader shoals are sort of a loose network of small islets around the main island of the giant spur. And ships basically just tie up, you know, more or less dock, right? It's pretty deep water, so ships can dock pretty close to these islands, and you know, then basically little markets spring up for all sorts of goods and such. And so yeah, that's how the Trader Shoals got their name.
Gotcha.
So anyway, that's where you're headed. Um, in the meantime, does anyone have anything they want to do with downtime?
Sleep. Part of it, so I can
Sure.
remove this fucking level of exhaustion.
That's true. Well, one night of sleep will do that. I assume, Sweetness, do you want to work on your recipe a little bit more, refine your powder?
Yeah, I had gotten some resources and stuff right from the island. I'm assuming I didn't use all of them.
No, no.
So maybe doing some work to sort of recall what I did that worked, and maybe refine it a bit. I could see myself experimenting with that.
All right. So first, why don't you make me an investigation check to try and you know, trace your steps in how you crafted your original recipe.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Well,
it's okay.
Only take that 24.
Yeah, we'll only take the 24. All right. All right. So that goes exceedingly well, right? You at least have the sort of proportions in your mind pretty well, right? So it gives you a good starting point for your further iterations. Let's see. For the second check, though, how about making a check with alchemist's tools, alchemist supplies, using intelligence. Sure. Excellent. All right.
Nice.
However, it seemed to be going well, but when you actually go to test it, it might be a little stronger than you bargained for. Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
All right. So you're able, you know, a small explosion rocks your lab, but luckily you're able to duck behind some furniture. But now I need I need an athletics check to quickly suffocate
Don't help me
these
fast, Sweetness.
flames.
You touch the boat on fire.
God, athletics is not my forte, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
E.
So you start. The rest of the crew starts noticing at some point, right? Little wisps of smoke starting to billow out of Sweet's room and up onto the top deck.
It's like, that's odd. We've put some distance between us and the Blazing Isles.
Yep. What smell?
What? Well, and you hear the explosion from below decks. Yeah.
So
So
I see that the fire is getting out of hand. I fling open the door and I'm like, "Help! Grab some water! Fire on deck!"
Luckily, the fire is pretty small, so you have 1d4 rounds, more or less, to do it. So how is anybody?
I'd like to do something.
Yeah, go for it.
Little spell I like to call Create or Destroy Water. All right.
Pretty good.
And
Pretty good spell right about now.
Yeah, I think so. So I just like rush up and, you know, conjure the hovering right over the fire. It says up to 10 gallons. I don't know if I need quite that much, but at an eyeball's glance, however much within that it seems like might douse it.
Well,
that's what I'll do.
I'll have you make a spellcaster check. Basically,
Okay.
make a magic attack roll to see. You know, you want to avoid messing up his experiment, right? As so far, right? So you don't want to douse everything in this water. So
Unless
see
it
how
seems
accurate.
to be getting out of hand, then
Right,
dash
of
the
course.
experiment.
Okay, so that's my intelligence plus my proficiency. So that's
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, 11? I don't know.
Yeah, you've definitely put out the fire. How much progress? You set the experiment back. You know.
Well,
It's hard to tell between the explosion, the fire, and the water. We'll put it that way. But
yeah,
Sweetness, you definitely felt like you made good progress. Right?
I kept careful notes this time.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, that's during your whole week of downtime is this process of experimentation and so forth.
Okay.
All right. Next crew member with downtime idea?
well, I'd like to approach Bungo.
Aye.
I just kind of go and find you or whatever, and I open up my golden scaled hand, and inside is a bean.
I'm not
and-
hungry.
Well, that's a first.
Hey.
And I say through a chuckle, I was hoping you could tell me what this is.
It's a bean.
No. A closer look, like you're uniquely able to do.
I see.
And I imagine. Well, I don't know actually. I don't know if he ever saw. I don't make a big show of telling him this, but I don't know if he saw that these were.
We got him from the drow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark elf.
The necromancer. Sorry, the dark elf necromancer.
Yes. But I don't know. I'm not sure if you do that or not. But if you did.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else really saw you pull it.
Ah, okay. Well then, yeah, I think he just is sort of like, I strongly feel it's not your ordinary bean. Take a look, examine it.
Do you happen to have a pearl worth at least 100 gold pieces on your person? We could pick one up in port.
I thought Identified didn't consume the pearl. You just need it as a material component. Because you had one before, right?
Right, I did have one before. I spent 40 points or whatever on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, then
That
yes.
story point's paying dividends.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I guess before I set about my day's work, I can cast a identify on the bean and see what info that gleans me.
All right, so yes, you take your time to examine the being with thoroughly, maybe even using the compass, the magic of the compass in tandem to get a better read on it. And yes, you learn that this being is magical. This is magic
Knew it.
being.
This is indeed a magical bean.
And you've heard of such things before. Again, Bungo, in your, many stories,
Yeah.
right, of
Right.
orphans, coming into possession of such things and wild and crazy stories happening. Um, so yes, Varanus, you only were able to get one, but you know that if you plant it, uh, something could happen. Something strange, something weird, something amazing.
But I don't know what exactly, huh?
You don't know what exactly. Nor, Bungo, you also feel like, through the Identify spell,
Yes.
you feel like this being is particularly in, like, a hibernation state. Because maybe it was, in the atmosphere of the volcanic, pits for too long, right?
Sure.
It's seems to be more like even dried out or than normal, and perhaps something needs to be done even before planting it.
So I correct my assessment, Varanus. It seems what we have here is not a magical bean, but a shriveled magic bean. You see, this is a very important keyword.
Shrivel.
Yes. This it appears we're gonna have to. I don't know how we would magically water it, perhaps, but essentially what we need to do is, I think, magically water this before we're gonna get full effect from the bean. I don't know if that means holy water or perhaps a less literal infusion of magic into the bean. But these things are known to be both wondrous but also potentially dangerous. For when you plant them, I've heard many different tales of what may come forth.
I see.
You
Well,
must be cautious.
I suppose we can ponder this, and when we reach the giant spur, if we're feeling fortune is in our favor, we can mess with it more then. Or not. At any rate, thank you, Bungo.
You're quite welcome. Anytime. Always down to investigate a magical curio.
Speaking of, well, treasure and so forth, Bosun Bungo, says Hal. Um, don't you think our ship could use... Well, she made it through her first battle, but
Oh yeah.
perhaps
No,
if we...
I was gonna say, for my downtime action, I'm gonna be doing the fix her up repair. It's like a bosun action.
Sure.
Let's see. So it costs. We only need to do 1 day of maintenance, which is great because we definitely
Yeah.
didn't take. Unless I roll really poorly on the roll, because we will heal 10d10 for a day spent performing maintenance, and it uses one of our supply store.
Oh, this is good. I'll even help, favor for a favor.
The ship can continue to move normally while these repairs are being conducted.
Wow. That's pretty good.
So let's see. Let's see where I want to make sure we have a supply. stat or something? Oh, we do. Medical 1, supplies 1.
Yes.
Okay, so this will eat our only supplies to do this, but I don't know what else we would spend them on.
Well, they get spent on things like, remember that barrel explosion
Yes.
you did? Things like that, right?
Okay.
Or repairing the ship, right?
Right.
Require supplies, yeah.
All right, well, I will dunk this on repairing the ship then.
All right. And we're down to 0 supplies. And...
okay, so I will roll 10d10s. See how we do repairing the ship, boys.
Do you recruit some of the new lads to help out with the repairs? Or...
Yeah, it's just like routine maintenance. We didn't get too beat up, so we'll put the newbies to work.
All right.
Here it is. Taking a lot of time to roll, and there it is. All right, so that takes us up to full.
Absolutely. All right, so over time, this wouldn't necessarily, yes, it wouldn't necessarily take your whole downtime. So if you have something else Bunko would like to do,
well, we've got multiple days, right? So this is my first day. I'll spend doing this.
You were trying to train with the Black Rift wand, right? I believe.
Yeah, that's definitely the other thing I want to spend some time doing.
All right, so let's do some training. So why don't you give me an attack roll using the Black Rift wand?
What would I be practicing on?
Well, just basically practicing your aim, practicing loading, right?
Right.
You know, basically working on gaining proficiency with the weapon. Right.
Yeah. Figuring out how to reload it without dropping, steel balls everywhere or whatever.
Right. Or blowing up yourself with powder.
Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, so... so this does cost 25 gold per work week that you're looking to train. And
work week, definitely 5 days.
Yeah, well, it's a work week is like more or less 20 hours, right? It's like 4 hours a day for 5 days. So technically, you could get 2 work weeks in if you do nothing else.
Definitely spending time just like fucking off and like hanging out too. So
sure. So you can get I'd say a work week worth.
Cool. Yes, so I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, so to start out, give me an attack roll with the Black Rift wand. Don't forget, if you're wearing your bracers of the slinger now, those add to your attacks.
What do they? Is that +1?
I believe it's +2.
Ooh, spicy.
What are you practice aiming at over there? The alchemist experiment, or
we've got like some Black Rift like helmets or like armor, left over. I just line up some of those.
Nice.
Okay. 2 magic bonus. I'm just adding the bonus. Does it add to my damage as well?
No, they only add to the attack.
Okay. Here we go. My boomstick.
Oh!
Man, good damage rolls.
Yeah, damn.
Hell yeah,
that's great.
Baby.
Though it looks like it did add the 2 to the damage roll as well.
Oh.
But anyway.
Roll. Sorry.
Well, it's. I mean, that Black Rift, effigy just explodes with your magnificent pistol shot, right? It's just center of it, and you just get a whole new appreciation for how this little little wonder can do. So
Sure,
I'll
have a
count that
little
as
engineering.
yeah. I'll count that as 2 successes towards your downtime. So you only need to make one more roll. This one. This one's gonna be a sleight of hand check to work on your draw. Right, you're gonna
Okay.
need to be able to draw this fast
Sure.
and easy.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Sleight of hand. 17.
Great. Oh. All right. So yeah, you've made great progress with the pistol. So overall, because you'd been practicing with it on the island too, I'll say you have 2 weeks worth of training so far
Sick.
by the
Okay,
end of
cool.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next? Kylum? Captain?
The captain is going to very simply practice a profession, and he is going to practice his profession as a fisherman. He will
Right.
harvest the water to attempt to successfully. He knows how to fish. Reduce the amount that the ship has to spend on supplies.
Sure. All right. Why don't why don't you make me are there fishing tools? Is that a type of tool? I forget.
Not real.
No.
I mean, there's like a net and a trident and stuff. I don't think so.
How does Omarin engage in fishing? Does he just cast lines or nets? What does he do?
No, so he has a combination of like nets that he drags behind the cerulean wind, like these huge drag nets, which we're gonna pretend those don't destroy ecosystems. He's gonna do it anyways. And then he will beast bond with some like larger mammal or shark to get it to like convince to like shepherd the
Right.
most choicest fishes into the net, and then we just drag it on deck and throw it out.
Wow. All right. That sounds pretty neat. All right. So why don't you give me I don't know, handle animal check? I guess that works. But I'll also give you advantage for your trait too, because perhaps if you roll well enough, you could. All right, you didn't. So yeah, you. All right, so I say you roll well enough that over the whole trip, you're able to sustain the food stores enough that you won't need to re-up unless you want to buy extra once you reach town. So yeah, you basically cover the ship's food stores for this leg of the journey. And anything else? That's it for the captain?
That's it for the captain. Just enjoying being out here.
Yeah. And Kylum.
Yeah, I was thinking that I would start talking to the new recruits, right? Because we got the ex-Blackrift slaves who are now joining our crew. And first I want to make sure that, like, you know, they're comfortable and, like, everything that they need, there's no conflict or whatever. But what I'm really personally interested in is just learning more about Blackrift and their history and kind of how they came to be the nation that they are, right? I don't really know anything about them. They're kind of far away from my homeland, and we didn't really have any contact with them, so I hadn't really engaged them until I came out on the sea like this, and I don't know much, and clearly we're going to keep bumping into them.
Sure.
So I kind of want to know about their history or their culture or anything. I was thinking that basically the net result would be that I might get like advantage on history checks related to Blackrift stuff in the future.
Okay. The one reservation that might be, or the one thing that might make this difficult is that these were slaves, right?
Right.
And just might not have a lot of information in that regard.
Yeah, my thought was like maybe one of them would be fairly educated just by the odds of how they became slaves, their lives beforehand. Maybe they were just someone who was more educated, who became a slave
Sure.
of Blackrift at some point.
All right. Well, why don't we start off with a persuasion check to just,
Yeah.
you're checking with the crew, you're building the rapport, and of course, as the XO, right, as first mate, that's sort of your position, is to be an advocate for the crew. Uh,
So, given that I am the one who dove into the water to rescue many of them, maybe I have advantage on this?
Absolutely. Sure thing.
Needed
Nice. Yeah. All right. So you are easily, and they saw how dedicated you were to protecting the ship and taking out the Black Rifters, even though that explosion you did might have probably killed other slaves, but wasn't them. So, yeah.
Okay,
So.
what was that guy?
And yeah, you find one of the slaves, right? He looks a little bit. It looks like he's taken more of a beating than the others, right? Perhaps, because he hasn't been able to pull his weight or something like that. So yeah, he's like, so you want to know about Black Rift, huh?
Yes, in my homeland, we know nothing of the Black Rifters.
Fortune. That's a good thing. You don't want to meet with them. Well, Black Rifters. Let's see. Is he? Yeah, this guy's slightly older. Definitely got a little bit of a gut that's been sort of eaten away by poor rations. So it's just like a kind of a flab of skin that's hanging down. And he's like, well, if memory serves right, the Rifters, they can be fairly their land. They have a lot of good land up there. Even though it's in the northern reaches, the valleys create a more stable, temperate ecosystem. So they were able to meet all of their culture's needs until, well, they wanted more stuff, right? They started to expand, and they just became aggressive. They often had conflicts with orcs and goblinoids up in the mountains of that region, so their culture became warlike themselves, right? In order to defend them, throw off the raids of these monstrous creatures, and so they're a very hardy folk and have been sailing on the seas and being, well, a nuisance to say the least for hundreds of years. And in fact, Blackrift's biggest conquest was, in fact, conquering, Greyhaven and much of the Greenwold. Many decades ago, a great Black Rift army came and swept down and held, almost for 10 years, held the land before an alliance was able to push them back out. They don't. They hate weakness. You show weakness to them, they might as well kill you, right? Sometimes, because they'll always just find more slaves. Let's see what else. They, having fought so long with the orcs, they also learned some of their weird craft. Weird spelled with a Y.
It's a weird way to spell weird.
Yeah, so the orcs, they don't have the kind of wizards that, say, the Alabaster Academy does, right? Their magic is much more, well, it's much more in tune. much more in tune with their physical being, right? It's all about empowering their physical being, or the ones, the orcs do this. They spread out toughness throughout the horde, right? Or make themselves, one of them, a great champion. And so that's what these weird powers are about. And so some of the rifters who can muster up enough, I don't know, muster up the fortitude to resist the processes have become strange, almost mad warriors.
All right. Okay, so they have like some berserkers around.
Yes, but berserkers who also, yes, who rely upon strange magic.
Okay, yeah. I mean, definitely very relatable as like people from a fairly nice zone area, like a part of the world that is forced to learn to defend themselves by like orcish aggression and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As an elf, right, this is very relatable to me. This is, but it's sad to see that someone would take it and use their advantages to enslave others and not just like look down on them like we do.
I mean, I like when elves make jokes at their own expense.
I look confused. Like I can't see my face, but I'm clearly a little confused as to what part of that was a joke.
Well, obviously he can't tell. Your confusion at his confusion.
Cool.
Yeah. So, let's see. Anything else during your downtime with the crew?
I'm just gonna like be also meditating on like what's been going on with the goddess. That's the goddess or god, I forget.
Well,
okay,
it's a fae, so who knows?
The deity that I've been in contact with, and obviously that connection is sort of through my family sword right now. So we're sort of meditating and focusing on that, and probably upgrading its powers a little bit.
Oh yeah. What are you meditating on? What do you?
Let me get the book tab again.
Remind me, we didn't get any more spirit points, did we?
You haven't. Yeah, so I think Chad, you should have, or very sort of in the book, right? Those were the starting ones, and then you've gotten 2 more during the course of the adventures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I think that's what I have.
See, I was thinking that I'm gonna take away the one that it has because I keep forgetting it exists, and instead I'm gonna give it the keen upgrade, so it gives a critical on a 19 or a 20.
That's good.
Very nice.
Well, criticals were really good on paladins, because they affect your smite too.
Exactly.
And how many points does?
So that takes 4, so I'll have 1 floating.
Yeah. All right. So over the course of the rest of the journey, you're meditating with your weapon, and you are sort of just allowing you're sort of almost in communion with your ancestors, right? Or you're trying, at least, right? As you're opening up to the power of this weapon more. Same thing with the power of your deity. You are feeling as if almost this chorus of voices are guiding you here and there, right? As you swing, as you even as you just do your normal duties about the ship, right? There's almost this sense that there are these guiding presences behind you. And that's a little strange at first. It's a little jarring, but as the sort of week continues and goes on, they sort of fade and coalesce right back into sort of your own mind, right? So the voices disappear, but you now feel that your bond with this weapon is so, is become even greater, that your strikes are going to just find their mark, right? And lay swift defeat to your enemies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oops. Button.
And what about Veritas? Yeah, he's got the Tome of Terrestrius.
Yes, I think in a lot of his downtime, you see Varanus poring over this tome. I mean, this was sort of, he views it as fate, that he found this tome, or this tome found him when he washed to shore after his infamous shipwreck. So in it are a lot of, I imagine, the spells that he's learning, the new ones that you see him using. That's all coming in large part, I think, from him studying the tome more. So if he's not tending to sort of immediate duties or doing something else of importance, there's a good chance you'll see him, sitting up on the deck, just, brows furrowed, really trying to learn. Maybe occasionally you see him holding the book and, moving his hands and trying to learn new spells. And yeah, it's a pretty common image for him.
Nice. Cool. All right. So, you guys, along the way, you find a small island that is, very sheltered, very difficult to find, to drop Gilbert. And as you do, right, as you come down to the brig, the makeshift brig, to fetch him, and you see him, and he looks nervous, right? You're coming down, this doesn't seem to be his normal mealtime kind of thing, and he's like, "So, what you gonna do with old Gilbert now?"
We don't say anything. We just say, "Come with us."
Give him to the police?
Well, can I at least have my breeches back?
I mean, give the man his breeches.
We'll give him his breeches, and we'll give him a very small umbrella. He will need it.
Okay. And he takes the, he's grateful for his leggings again, but doesn't know about this umbrella thing. And all right, so you lead him on deck, and suddenly, as he squints, in the sun, for the first time in several days, he looks. Is that where the next fragment is? That little island? Doesn't look like it'll be that hard.
Well, you're going to come with us to help find out.
Me?
Oh no, is his new name 10-foot pole?
We say, yes, you, and we get in that, we lower the boat down the side of the Cerulean Wind, one of the lifeboats, as it were, and we lower him in.
The only remaining lifeboat.
Sure, yes. Who would like to come?
I mean,
I'll come.
You.
Yeah.
Cool. So the four of us will go. We row to shore. I guess we'll also bring a barrel of water and some, food. I don't know, enough food for a month or something. And, a fishing net and a flint and steel. Just normal camping stuff, like an adventurer's kit or something.
Do we really need all these supplies? We're only going to this island a short while, right, guys?
You never know. There might be caves. Deep caves under the island that need to be explored.
Oh. All right. Well, why don't you give me a deception check, Captain?
All right. The captain's not great at that, but let's see how he does.
But I'll give you advantage due to his captive, circumstances. Yeah. He's like, and as you're saying these things, trying to like reassure him, he suddenly is like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, you cannot leave Gilbert. You cannot maroon Gilbert.
Baroness, I think it's time for a bit of a sleep spell, if you could be so kind.
Oh god. And Varanus is like realizing he doesn't know this spell at all. And so I think he just kind of nods and like puts the guy in an actual sleeper hold.
Like knocks his back of the head and knocks it out.
All right, Gilbert.
He just wraps his big strong arms around his. He doesn't want to hurt the poor guy, other than, usher him to night.
Sure, and Varanus, given your superior strength and position, you easily just put him out. He wasn't expecting such a move. And you pull up onto the sand of the island. Crabs go, skittering away. It is fairly small. It's probably only a couple acres. But some tree cover.
Any signs of life? I'll hit a survival check to see if there's any habitation here. Yeah.
Only sea life that you can tell. Yeah.
Okay, then we sort of, I don't know, I'll get his hands, Varanus, you get his feet, Bungo, I guess you're strong too, Bungo. I don't know, Bungo and Varanus, you can do it. Like, drag him onto land and prop him up against a tree and put the supplies next to him.
Sure.
And then we leave. Oh, we leave a note. Oh, we have to leave a note. Oh, God. The note says something really cool that I haven't thought about. It's but also cool, and we leave a note. That basically says when we're done with our adventure, we'll come back, or we will send somebody for you in 1 month. Don't eat all your food, and crabs are delicious.
All right, with that note left behind, its journey, and before long, or a couple more days, kind of giant spur. It is like a pillar that rises.
You guys losing Zach too?
Oh, yeah, I can't. Zach, I think that's what you just said.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, I lost your Zach sound as well.
Speak, Zach. Speak.
Am I?
Nope, got nothing.
No, still nothing.
Look at me. I'm the dungeon master now.
How about now?
Suddenly, gold starts raining from the sky.
This is a coup by Ray.
Turn to wine.
All right.
And women that look just like the Mirager but are real all show up.
I was just going to say that buxom ladies and strapping men start rising from the sea, out of the wine ocean.
5-minute break, Zach says.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. That makes more sense.
See you guys in 5.
All right. Thanks for your patience as we tended to technical difficulties and so forth.
Don't worry, I ran things just fine while you were gone.
Yeah, I heard. I could hear, but I couldn't speak apparently. And gods took my voices.
Silence.
Yeah. All right. So, whoever is in the crow's nest, you get the first sight of Giant Spur as the haze of the afternoon sun parts to reveal this massive spire just going from ocean into the sky beyond the clouds, lost in the tips of the clouds. And, you know, as you squint, right, you can see the bottom is almost like a mountain, right? It's almost like this one island had a mountain, and then a gigantic pillar was built from there up into the sky. And as the boat continues forward as you see this massive structure now is just starting to slowly dominate the vista of the northward horizon. Beyond the ship, just ahead, you see a 20-foot tall carved stone being splashed by the continuous waves. And you instantly recognize it as the figure of a red dragon. Basically a 20-foot carving of a red dragon head, painted it all in black and red. Very striking. And immediately you could tell, as we've discussed before, this is a definitive sign that you are entering dragon territory. However, right, although this figurine seems somewhat ominous as it glares down at you, Varanus especially, you feel this heat start to rise in your chest, passing this thing. You notice that on the horizon now you can see the sails and masts of many ships coming from different directions. And, you know, as the ship trundles along through the waves, you see some of these ships are going to the island that supports the Giant Spur itself, but other ships are going to another location a distance offshore, right, anchoring near these shoals. So you judge, right, as your ship continues to close in, the sail from the island to the Trader Shoals is probably only an hour or so. So as you're coming in, you probably be with to the Trader Shoals in, you know, another hour and a half. So did you want to discuss anything in terms of how you want to restock, resupply the ship, potentially get upgrades, talk about party funds?
So, and this just might be me as a player and me not as a character, but I think this ship should have some bilge pumps.
As bosun, I concur.
What?
Doesn't seem like a bad idea.
Bilge
Bathroom?
But I mean, I think they're a thing to have.
You landlubber, haven't you ever heard of bilge? Gets all over your ship, you gotta pump it out.
10 out of 10, right?
Sure. I mean, you could look.
If we're ever taking on water, which at some point.
Right. I mean, yeah. So far, you haven't had any hull breaches. But who's to say with those Black Rifter weapons that they were firing, if they actually managed to hit? But, yeah, again, this being the Trader Shoals, right, this is a very, almost impromptu kind of, or very slapdash kind of community, right? The people are always coming and going, right? It's not, there's no permanent settlement here, although people just sort of take an empty stall, right, that was left by someone, to sell their wares or ply their trade or whatever. So it's possible you'll be able to find some, but it is definitely not a place that is as well equipped to furnish, huge. Yeah, it might be difficult to find. This is what I'm saying. And they cost a pretty penny.
I definitely think we should get a rowboat.
Yes.
All right.
Oh yeah, going to replace that.
Are there any other, aspects of the ship that we could, I don't know, modify or upgrade or
Yeah,
that
so
we might want to,
if you look in the ship
We could get
tab,
or something, right?
For weapons.
like another ballista or something
yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Oh, Zach, we lost you again.
I don't
gone
know.
again?
He'll be talking to us.
What?
Doesn't-
What?
Oh no, he is talking to us.
Oh
Tell from
boy.
the expression here that this isn't working right.
No.
What do we find in town?
We find an old. He too has many magical beans, and that each
am I
of
back?
these beans will lead us to the fallen star. We'll have fallen stars. We
You
can
are.
get 3 wishes.
I think you are back, Zach.
Okay.
Okay.
He's back.
Bungo, you're mixing reality with one of your old stories again. You gotta watch out for that.
I've been out in the sun on deck too much.
Yeah, so you could add another ballista, either a separate ballista, or sort of add to the, basically start making a ballista battery with the one you already have. So there's not much of a difference, but. So yeah, another ballista would cost like 150. If you go to the general in the general ship. I gotta show it to you guys. So that will take you looking at. Nope, not that one. Wrong one. For those of you on Twitch, this is from the Complete Guide to Nautical Campaigns, developed by the great GM, Guy Slanders. If you ever want to check his channel out. There we go, this is the one. So, yeah, you can buy, mangonel, right, basically an old-fashioned, what we would call a catapult. 250 gold pieces, so it has a longer range, does some more damage, but sort of does arcing fire, so it's not great for direct shots. Trebuchet might be a little big for your ship, but it's possible. A harpoon, right? Of course, that's sort of like a ballista, but it has a line attached to it that you can catch things with. Or hook another ship. A fully equipped lifeboat is 500, or will be,
What about an unfully equipped lifeboat?
Well, that'd be more or less how much you want to negotiate with people, or how well you negotiate.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know what our group fundage is or what's going on, but when I look at my sheet, I got 230 gold and 100 silvers to my name. chill.
Well, remember, you guys had gotten 2,500 gold pieces worth of gold bars from the necromancer.
Ah, so that can be our group money.
Right.
Wow, I
That's
have
more or less
no
right now.
gold compared to you, Chad.
You have no gold at all?
I have 13 gold.
That's brutal.
Did we
Yeah,
get
that's-
some when
that's
we
rough.
when we got the star?
There's been times where that the party has gotten some group funds, but hasn't been recently.
I think I sold some stuff too.
Mm.
Oh, I'm a poor doctor.
How many lifeboats or small boats could the wind hold?
Well, I mean, you might have to sort of build more winches or whatever to build suspended, holders to build more. But two is its max for right now.
So my thought is the clearly most effective defense we had against these black rifters was our little jaunt in the lifeboat. Like, by far. They outgunned us, they outmanned us, they out everythinged us except for the big explodey, kamikaze mine. So, kamikaze boat mine. So, what could we do if it's not lifeboats to maybe buy something similar?
Well, the
Barrels?
dream would be like a wood thing, like a barrel that was like weighted enough that it stayed under the water, but like near the surface somehow. Like you'd want it to be near that, and fill it with gunpowder, or I'm sorry, black powder.
Doom powder.
Doom powder.
Doom powder.
And
That
then,
real black powder that you could use for a machine.
That goes doom whenever it
Yeah,
gets ignited.
that makes sense. I can see how they got the name. That's the only name that really makes sense.
Well, Bungo, as a bosun, has a special order that's very similar. That specifically drops a keg, right, of explosives, and that uses a supplies from the ship rather than a rowboat. But it doesn't deal as much damage as the sacrifice of the gods.
So, if we just buy more supplies,
Yeah, basically, having extra supplies is good because they can be used sort of for different things, whether to repair the ship
can we
or.
buy medical stores?
Oh yeah,
as well?
for sure.
Okay.
So I
So
put.
what are we thinking? We're getting some supplies, a basic little boat, and some medical
So medical
stuff.
stores wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
that's
got.
what I can use to heal crew members and.
Yeah,
stuff
so
like
we got 25 hundo. How much is all that going to set us back?
So a medical store is only 10, a supply is only 20. It's food and drinks that are or food specifically that's the most expensive. Food is 150 gold per 10 crew per month.
Well, the captain is really helpful with that, though.
Right. So for now, anyway. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I guess
We
he
should
can
buy
pretty
some
much do
food
that
and drink.
reliably. Yeah.
Yeah, so we should buy some, of course.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
we
can
could
buy. Yeah, medicine stores and supplies. Really, you could stock up on those pretty easily.
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, if we got 10 of each of those, what would that be, right? Like something like 500 or?
You say 10 each?
That'd be only like 300 total.
Yeah, it'd be 100 for. Yeah, it would be 300.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know.
Let's do that.
Maybe that. Is any?
Sure.
If there's any objection, no worries. But that seems like a.
Yeah, that's a good start. Is 10 of each,
Yeah.
and then we need to figure out food and drink.
Right.
So it seems like we probably want to get 2 food and 2 drink.
Can I? What are we going to?
Yeah.
Are we just sticking with the Phantom crew and getting rid of any other crew members?
I mean, here's the deal. I would not rely exclusively on them because
I agree.
it's limited in the amount that I can summon them, and not only that, there may be like an emergency situation where I need to summon them in the heat of battle, meaning that they will
not be on the ship.
disappear from the
Right.
yeah. So
So do we need to hire more crew? Because we lost some crew members.
Well, you lost some, but your crew is bigger than it's ever been so far.
Because of the slaves that we picked up,
But-
are they planning to stay with us?
Well, as long as they're Kylem's sort of
As long as they're paid and fed?
hmm and due to the
and
captain's
you make a good point.
thing, they won't take any supply, or they're only going to take half the cost this month or whatever.
Yep.
So
And we
you know,
we just learned that where we're going is sort of this intercultural hub where we're probably like to find all sorts of different, potentially, I'm sure, good sailor. We might be able to recruit there if we want to. So we can look into that.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in like recruiting basically named NPCs. Like if there's a cool sailor or somebody we could recruit, that'd be cool. I don't think we need just like crew. Besides what we have, I think we have what we need on that front.
Sure.
But we do need food and drink for them, so I do think we could start with 2 food, 2 drink, and that'll like get us going for a while because we're also supplementing that with like fish and shit.
sure.
Yeah.
Note you could
So what
also
does that bring us to?
Sorry.
So if you get 2 food, 2 food and 2 drink, that's another 320.
So that I think puts us at 1880.
1880 remaining.
I think so. After we purchase the
Yeah, I think that's right.
10 of each, and then the.
And the rowboat is 500.
Okay. So
we want to negotiate that down, right?
Well, Bungo was advocating for a fully stocked one.
I would also advocate for a fully stocked one. I'm sympathetic for the suicide plan, but like, I also want like rowboats. Like,
if you plan to do the suicide plan, we could say, if you take the time to do it, you could unload the extra supplies and not, so you can
hold on. We're buying it. What are we getting with the rowboat?
You basically get 10. You get enough rations for a week for 10 passengers. That goes with the rowboat. Basically, emergency rations and stuff. Should you be on the rowboat just alone in the ocean, right?
Right.
Survival stuff. Yeah.
I mean, even if we did that, it would still give us 1380 remaining.
Yeah.
To sit on, yeah.
Well, I think we could spend it on something.
Well, we could save some of it, but I mean, if there's still enough in there to work on adding another weapon to our ship or something, I mean.
Yeah. Right. Of course, you guys are
ballistic
running low on potions too.
Yeah, we should probably get potions. That makes sense.
Yeah, everybody should maybe carry a couple healing potions, if nothing else, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah. Are you guys going to sail into the Trader Shoals basically, or you could sail directly to the Giant Spur Island? Yeah. Pretty much the option right now.
I mean, you could go straight to the island, right? Like...
Well, the Trader Shoals is where we would.
You're gonna buy stuff, right?
Oh, okay. Sure, we'll go there first then. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So you guys head into the Trader Shoals. You pull up. Let's see. I'll assume Hal is gonna stay on the ship. Let's see. So, yeah, you moor your ship. Come on, paste. Wow. Oh. Paste. There we go. Goodness. Why is only Kyle there?
Oh, the ship's here, everybody. I guess you guys can come too.
All right, there we go. So you arrive amidst the trader shoals, right? There's, all different sorts of business going on here and there. Um, After being, out at sea for a couple weeks and just dealing with the strange things of Igni Ka and the Blazing Isles, it's nice to be back in civilization again. Um, so, yeah, you see merchants hawking their wares, some sort of auction. Looks like it's going on in this circular area over there. Um, you notice there's a small contingent of lizard folk up to the north. Yeah, so what do you guys do?
What's going on in
Lauren
this?
is going to immediately go and find some food to eat that isn't fish.
All right. Yeah, you can find you find people selling, chicken, right? They've had chickens on their ship, just, basic fowl, things like that.
What's going on with this in this circle over here?
So Sweetness, you wander a little closer and you hear a voice calling out very fastly. Oh, we got 200 in the front. Can we have another buyer 225 here going over there and the gentleman in the brown? So you see some sort of auction going off. And when you look over in a cage, you see a small avian creature that is, sort of penned up in a cage.
Oh.
You know.
Could I investigate a little closer?
Sure.
I'd be curious to maybe even do a check and see if I recognize what it is.
Sure. How about a nature check?
I'd love to.
You think this might be a cockatrice?
Oh. What, pray tell, is that?
Well, you've heard they're sort of man-sized birds, or they're just maybe a little smaller. And with their, as the legends go, if they bite you, they can turn you to stone.
I take all the ship's funds, and I... Oh, okay.
So 325 to the gentleman in the green. Let's see, for the next lot we have two very, very nice gentlemen who were rescued upon the ocean. We'll hear bids. They come as a pair. I think they're brothers. You notice, Sweetness, that the two men don't look anything alike. Start the bidding at 150 gold pieces. And
Sweetness is very, intrigued by what's going on here. But he'll probably wander back and rejoin the crew. I think he's probably surprised and delighted. It's nice to be sort of back in a hustling, bustling area with lots of people. After being out on the sea and in danger for so long. But yeah, I think he'll wander back over the crew. Stay true to the mission.
Varanus, because the all the ships are docked pretty close to these shoals, you notice a very, well, it's striking, very striking to you. It stands out. Almost every ship, pretty much every ship, docked nearby has a conspicuous bright red flag that it is flying.
And it has the dragon on it, right?
No, the flag doesn't have any sigils or anything like that. It's just a big, bright, red flag.
Maybe I could just sort of nudge a passerby or somebody at the market and just ask them what that flag represents.
Oh, well, if you're in dragon territory, you should really know. Those are the signs of Lux. You need one of those to do any trade or even sail safely in dragon territory. If a dragon sees you without one, oh boy. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. I see. Thank you.
Sounds pretty important.
Yeah, and I'll relay this information back to everybody.
Well, it sounds like we need to get one of those flags.
Yeah, like right away.
Yeah, immediately.
Venus does a little check-in. Like, how do you feel about that, Baroness?
Well, I have, frankly, no, loyalty to playing by that dragon's rules. And I'm sure we can find some trading to be done here on land without these sails.
Yeah,
But
without the
more
flag.
than like, our journey is going to take us into dragon territory at some point.
if we
Like
need to fly,
yesterday.
if we need to fly the flag, so be it. This is all a means to an end.
Is this like something we can make, or we need to buy one of these?
You're gonna guess based on, what it's supposed to do. Yeah, this is a.
Is it a magical flag?
Depending on who you ask. If you don't like getting burned by red dragons, it's pretty magical.
What if he cast detect magic and looked at the flag? Would it burst a light with magical energies?
No, nothing.
Okay.
So it just looks like a plain red flag.
Well, I mean, it's not.
Heard of this before?
You probably have heard of it, right? It's probably been a thing to go in dragon territory, you need their sigil, right? Or you need,
I guess,
to fly.
Yeah.
we're just thinking, is this something we could just make ourselves, or what is the procedure to acquire?
Well, such flags are usually only distributed by agents of Lux's agents herself, right?
You're trying to forge a dragon ID right now?
Yes, I think we just take one.
What if we just handing them
our
out?
own?
Let's see what it takes to get one, and then we'll figure it out, right?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I mean, it sounds like, Zach was just saying, the agents of Lux themselves have to.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's just it costs 30 gold or something. I don't know.
Yeah, could we look into
Oh, sure.
ask around more and see
you ask around, right? Normally these sell for 250 gold, and this basically
officially.
Yeah, which secures you the right to
still
sail through their through the territory. Not to say you won't ever be interfered with by the dragons, but it at least
250. Yeah. I better not fucking touch it.
Yeah, I make a big show out of this, where once we learn this information, I sort of imagine the scene where gone and asked around, and I'm presenting it to the crew, but in a very slanted way with Varanus's opinion, where he's just this is yet another way that these dragon lords are pressing people under their thumb. They're charging an outrageous sum to fly some sail. We should strike back in our own small way for now, and refuse to pay that.
Well, as you were ranting a little bit, right? Maybe some people nearby were listening in, and they're yeah, yeah. I mean, they charge so much for this goddamn, yeah, the dragon's coin. uh, it's a terrible, terrible text, and you know, right? After hearing this, the dragon's coin is basically the trade routes throughout Lux's empire. So whenever you say someone's on the dragon's coin or dealing with the dragon's right, it's having to do some sort of trade in the empire, and that's basically Lux's bag from what you learned, right? She accumulates wealth through taxation, not by raiding, more or less.
Right, that's pretty much tracks. So I guess, yeah, in so many words, I sort of, very passionately insinuate that, like, anything we can do to undermine Lux, we should, and we shouldn't stand for what she's doing here.
Well, I guess it sounds like we have 4 options, right? And a lot of them aren't very good. So number 1 is don't have a flag, try to avoid being on the dragon's coin.
I think that's the worst one.
That seems like the worst one. That seems like the bad one. I don't want that one. Number 2, pay up. I get that sucks for you. I think, on the other hand, it's the safest, right? That's the safest, but let's explore the other options, right? Yes. Let's be honest that this is one of them.
Yes.
Another one is forge a flag, right? Make our own. We have to figure out how to make a convincing forgery. Right.
At that rate, you might as well steal one that's the legitimate thing.
Well, that's the 4th one. That's the 4th option here is steal a legitimate one, preferably from the vendor themselves. If we take it from, like, another ship, we're just screwing over another ship. But if we take it from the...
But they're Lux loyalists, so screw them. No,
well,
I think
who's
you're
really
right.
Lux loyalist is whoever's distributing these on behalf of Lux.
True.
That's who we should steal from.
I like this idea.
So that's a one-time risk. If we get a forgery, it's risky forever because they might notice the forgery at any point. This is a one-time risk. If we pull it off perfectly, good, but it's high risk.
Yeah. Dude, all we gotta do is get an Oceans...
Good old-fashioned caper.
An Oceans 5 here, and heist us up some sails, and we're good to go.
All right. So, first of all, you notice that only ships are flying the flags. So, the people in the stalls don't have flags, right? And the flag is not needed, right, in Giant Spur or the Trader Shoals itself, right? But if you went further west, so that's one thing. You would have to steal it directly from a ship.
Wait, there aren't any people selling it here, like right on the edge.
So you look around and you don't see, or at least immediately, anyone doing that. And you sort of ask about that as well, and people look, again, as Varanus, you're going around in your conspicuous golden scales, and they're like, well, not to be rude, but if Lux's agents were around and they saw you wouldn't want to be here anymore, right? I don't think they would take too kindly to you. And by this, you get the insinuation that they mean that they mean red dragonborn, more or less.
Yeah. So, I go into, covert Jedi mode, right? I got like a cloak pulled up over my head.
Your starry cloak, which also looks pretty...
No, I think I probably have another, like, plain cloak that's just,
A Holocaust cloak.
If you want to call it that, but I just prefer to call it a cloak.
I was speaking from the Princess Bride.
No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I heed these words. I try to keep a low profile as I continue to mill about here.
Can we, I think, joining in on all of this, searching and inquiring about the sales, or flags, or whatever that we need, ask around and be like, well, all right, well, where do we get one? Where are these merchants? Why aren't they here? Are they all the way back in, Blue, or like the other cities along the coast, or
No. The dragons, agents of the dragon don't go near the mainland. This is as far east as they come. There's, you might say, an uneasy truce between the mainland and the dragons, right? The dragons don't want, they would really have to want to take over the mainland if they were gonna go more that way, right? This is this is the border.
Yeah.
But
Well, where do we find the merch? Yeah, just.
Well, her agents sail, along the trade routes. Of course, you could go by, go to nearby places too. The Boddens, they're the closest, but they're not actually in her empire. You got the Lagoons of Storm or the Scales. Those are probably closer.
You know what
Now,
I'm kind of thinking? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, it's possible some one of these other captains might part with their flag. But, and this is also the one that you gotta. There's been a dragon sighted around here recently, circling the spire. It's not a good sign when they come all the way out here. And all the pilgrims, right, and all the merchants here, we all fly the flag. We all pay the dragon's coins. So it's curious why one of her daughters would be out here.
Let's see. Well, I got a couple of ideas, I think, here, just to maybe help us figure out. I'm imagining, like I said, trying to kind of be stealthy, blend in.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And I'd like to maybe take a little stroll. If anyone else wants to join, obviously come along. But I want to kind of start scouting out some of the ships. Maybe start looking, is one of them look particularly vulnerable to a theft? Are they a bunch of, drunken sailor types versus one that's really well outfitted? Starting to just kind of size up, like, if we are going to do this, if I can pick a mark potentially. That's sort of one thing that I think Varanus wants to do. I'm also sort of remembering there's a big potential clue here for Scarlet Cade's treasure, but maybe we'll do that later.
Well, if someone else wants to work on Scarlet Cade's treasure,
I love Scarlet Cade's treasure.
Well, I just reaffirmed to him that you should trace the path of the morning star to its true resting place.
I'll help you, Varanus.
Thank you, friend.
All right.
But anyway.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll start off with this for now. So, Varanus and Sweets, you two are sort of just, you're wandering through the shoals in between all the merchants.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to be strolling way out in the open right by their boat. I want to do it, like I said, a little more stealthily, right?
Right.
Just because I don't want to
milling among the merchants and looking at their wares, but
yeah, like Assassin's Creed style. I walk prayer hands by a bunch of nuns or whatever. But yeah. So I just wanted to kind of.
Yeah.
He's he's definitely employing some caution as he does this.
Well, why don't both of you give me a stealth check and a wisdom-based investigation check as you're sort of scouting out the ships, from afar, right? You can't really get close enough to a lot of them. Meanwhile, as Bungo goes off, so you can give me the wisdom investigation checks too. Meanwhile, Bungo, yeah, you head off. You have the map from Sherrock, right? Sherrock's corpse that you pulled out of the jungle on Igni Ka. And so you're trying to like coordinate, right, that little rhyme with the indicators on the map.
Yeah.
But this looks like it might be a little difficult, so I need you to make investigation check.
I will be
Intelligence.
tagging along with Bungo because he's alone. You know, we don't want to leave him alone in like this strange new environment.
I was actually, well, do you have any skill in the ways of investigation?
Or I'd
no.
take a check with navigator's tools. If you got proficiency in those.
I don't think I do. Or if
Not
I did,
particularly.
out of my sheet. Yeah. Does Captain O'Marin, do you have any way in the skills of charting investigation?
Omarin does. He's not great at it, but he'll give it a go.
Well, if you basically what I'm trying to find is who can give me the assist here, and it sounds like you can.
All right.
Okay. So you and I will sit down and study the riddles and the charts, and all right. So I'll throw an investigation with advantage.
Sure. So yeah, the captain, the first officer, and the bosun, right, are going about working on Scarlet Cave's treasure. Meanwhile, the doctor or the surgeon and the mage. Oh, nice rolls. The doctor and the mage are about scoping out these ships, and well, again, Varanus. Unfortunately, you try to put the cloak over your cloak, and it just doesn't quite work. You don't end up concealing your uniqueness very well, unfortunately. And as you remember, right, your starry cloak is always sopping wet, because the tome has some sort of beef with it. It seems, and its magic is influencing it. So that's all, and it's bleeding through onto your bigger cloak and making it stick together in awkward ways. It's just not working very well. Sweetness, on the other hand, because of this big show that Varanus is putting on,
Yeah, no one's noticing me.
no one's noticing you. Yeah. But when it comes to scoping out the ships, yeah, neither of you really do that well here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're able to get a good, an okay idea about like maybe it's just really hard to tell what ship has what crew, right? You see all sorts of mixes of crews here, right? But it's not like they're continuously going on and off their ship all the time. So, you get a fairly good idea of like one of the ones that wouldn't be the hardest, right?
Yeah, so I just imagine I'm like, in an alleyway, like with Sweetness, and I don't look at it or gesture to it, but I like turn my back toward the harbor, and I'm like, you see that one over there? I think that's the one we hit. We ready our ship to leave, maybe in the dead of night, and sneak on, grab the flag, and be ready to speed off.
What kind of ship does this look like, Zach? I mean, just merchant?
Yeah, like a more of a merchant junker, as they call them, sort of just low draw, right? Pretty more flat bottom kind of ships.
Merchants, they have plenty of coin. I'm sure they'll replace it and not think twice about it.
Seems like a fine idea to me. I haven't seen any other ships that look like they'd do any better, so.
Nor have I. And where is this docked in relation to where we are? Is, I guess, another thing I'm thinking about here.
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter because you could easily sort of make your way around, right, around the shoals, to dock nearby or you know, or farther away if you want. Um, so I'd say for now it's docked sort of on the opposite side of the shoals from where your ship is.
All right.
On the, you know, yeah.
And last question for now, for me anyway. How big are the flags? Like, I'm just thinking, like, walking through what this would look like. We take it. Can we quickly roll it and fold it up and put it on our person, or does it look like it's too cumbersome for that sort of
Oh,
thing?
it's a big flag, right? Because it flies off your ship, so
Yeah.
it's a big flag.
So I think I maybe was, rubbing my scaled chin. I say to Sweetness, one thing we may want to consider is how we'll transport this thing without it being obvious.
God, yeah. Sweetness looks concerned.
Excuse me, you smell quite nice. Someone taps you on the shoulder, Sweetness, and you turn to see a woman of, you know, likely noble stock.
No repute.
No. Likely noble stock. Um, uh, I am looking to buy griffin's eggs. Have you look like a capable sort. Perhaps you've come upon some in your travels?
Ah, Sweetness is. Thank you. Chamomile and cardamom. No, I don't have any griffin's eggs. I'm sorry.
But
Surely one of the merchants around here.
well, I've already checked with them, and okay. I mean, understandably, they are hard to obtain, but I will be here for another several days, weeks, maybe. Um, you see, my lord is looking to have a hatchery for griffins, but you know it doesn't have any eggs. Um, so if perhaps you come across any, I'm willing to pay quite handsomely, 150 gold pieces for an egg. 150 per egg.
Okay.
How many eggs in a griffin brood?
Oh. Um, Griffins tend to have.
I'm seeing if I know.
Yeah. Griffins tend to have fairly low broods, so probably only 3 or 4.
Okay. Sweetness is like. Okay, thank you.
Yes. My name is Gwen Belhem. Please, yeah, find me again if you come across any. In fact, if you are an adventurous sort, I've heard that griffin's eggs may even be found on the upper reaches of the spire. They may nest up there, so it's said.
Picture Sweetness being like.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's tall, right?
Yeah.
It's like really tall.
Oh, you can't even see the top. Like,
It's in the clouds?
yeah.
Oh,
That's insane.
well, isn't that nice?
Like I said, if you're the adventurous sort, maybe you're just one of those dirty, salty pilgrims. I don't know.
Oh, boys, this does sound kind of fun. As far as quests go. What was her name?
Gwen Belham. Meanwhile, so you guys have taken you some time, right? And you're trying to scope things out. As have Bungo, the captain, and Kylam. So basically 5 hours pass, right? During your time, you know, you guys have been going about your business. I assume, you know, if you guys buy anything too, we can lump that into this time. But yeah, it takes you about 5 hours, but finally Bungo, you know, with with Magnus whispering in your head, right, and, you know, the captain using his tools of navigation, you guys finally make sense of this map, and discover what you think is the location, right, on the shoals that you're supposed to watch from. Or you're supposed to, you know, that's supposed to be your orientation point. But when you sort of get there, you've got, like, the map, and you're, like, looking it up, you know, raising it up, and it's like, yeah, it's a great match. But you're supposed to be looking for a large rune that is carved into the stone, right? Sharrock's notes seem to indicate a large rune carved into a stone. And as you're looking out, you see that there's part of a rune that's been carved into a stone, but that stone has broken. Half of the rune is missing. And, you know, obviously you could tell, right, based upon the weathering on the stone and stuff, like, this happened years and years ago. So, since only half of this glyph on this stone can be made out, it's impossible to know which way it ultimately points.
Well, we came close. Gave it a really good shot.
How many possibilities are there, Zach?
Well, it's hard to know because you don't know what the sort of other half of this rune is supposed to look like, right? You know, one of you could make me a history check. Yeah. Bungo, Kylum, or Omar.
Sure.
So before we do that, because this seems like a thing that we might want to seriously think about and research, I would like to cast Enhance Ability on you, Ray.
Ooh, spicy.
Give you some Fox's Cunning.
All right, advantage.
All right, nice.
All right, here we go. So this, sorry, history check?
Yep.
All right. Boom.
Hey! Wow.
Hard alert.
All right, so Bungo, you plumb, you know, the depths of your memory about the stories, and you look down at the stone in front of you, and then your eyes start climbing the length of the spire, or the height of the spire, up and up, and you look down, you look up again, and you wonder, did this rock here, now sitting before you, fall off of that spire way back when? And you sort of also look around now, you're taking sort of a wider view of the whole scene, right? You're off on a far sort of outcropping, right, of this Trader Shoals, so it gives you a little more panorama of the Trader Shoals plus the island of Giant Spur in the background, and you sort of start thinking, you're like, maybe the rocks, right, that form the Trader Shoals were once part of the spire? Like they might have been a collapsed portion?
Ooh. Guys, what if the rocks were once part of the spire?
Wait, how many rocks are there? Like what are we talking about here?
No, these are,
just this
when
one?
I say the rocks, I mean the bedrock that is making up the ground you are standing on, basically, right? Like small island-sized rocks.
All could have come from the spire.
Well, that's Bungo's bardic intuition.
Sure. I mean, that would be very impressive. The spire is quite big.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I'm trying to emphasize
You're
the
saying
point
whoa.
of how big that would mean.
Right. Well, the spire does go all the way up, so you can't even see the top. Right. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So does that mean that then? So I'm talking to Bungo. Like you mean like the rest of the rune might be on the spire?
That's what I'm thinking.
Huh.
Perhaps
Spicy.
we ought.
Grab some griffin's eggs while you're up there.
Yeah, I guess one of us. I mean, I'd be happy to go up there and look, but like, I don't even know where to begin to look. Like, it would take a lifetime to just scour the whole spire and see if I find another room.
Good point.
Well, maybe there's some tale about. Maybe somebody who knows the spire might be able to tell us if a piece of it looks crumbled or worn away or something like that.
I was gonna say, yeah, we should just hopefully just have to look for places where the spire is broken, right?
I'm sure the goodly dragon that's patrolling around could give us a quick lift up there.
Just wave the flag that we have.
Great.
What?
Hey, you work on that strategy. I guess we'll around.
And then
lure a griffin down here.
You hear a lizard-like voice, some akin to yours, Varanus, but a little different. Perhaps one of the devout ones knows more about the spire. And you all turn around and you can see, you guys find yourselves. You guys find yourselves among a couple of the lizard folk that have.
Am I getting Igni Ka vibes from these folks, or what we talking?
Well, I mean, so you look around and they're lizard folk for sure. But you're not. You never saw any of the lizard folk on Igni Ka, and so far as you know, those were ancient peoples. Yeah, but potentially, I mean, you have just come from there, so it's on your mind, right? You see these lizard folk. Some of them seem to be, more dressed as merchants, and sailors. Others, right, definitely, more have weapons and armor.
And what was the group that they just referred to? The
Pilgrims.
Pilgrim? Oh my god. Pilgrim.
The followers of the oarsmen.
Right. I just give like a little thank you nod for that little tidbit there. That's a good idea. Now, just asking, are they like really clearly distinguishable? Like, can you look around here and be like, oh, yep, they're the pilgrims. They're the ones that, are wearing a certain thing or going about things a certain way, or is it hard to tell?
You look around and you don't see anyone here that strikes you as a pilgrim.
Okay. So maybe I say to the lizard folk, where might I find such a pilgrim?
Well, they go straight to the Spur. You see, the trader Shoals have nothing of interest to them. No, they're interested in the spire itself. It's a holy walk they take up the spire for their gods. But we hear they have run into some ill fortune as of late.
Oh, what might that be?
Well, it might even be, ill fortune might only be depending on your perspective. Perhaps the pilgrims think it a miracle. They're calling it the Ascension on the Spur. You see, 4 weeks ago, every pilgrim that was within the shrine on Giant Spur disappeared. Nothing. Gone like smoke. And of course, we don't do anything with the giant spur aside from the occasional adventurer that goes to brave it, or the pilgrims don't often visit the island, so we don't know much more. It is just a strange tale that's been circulating.
And no one knows where they've gone.
No one knows. Not even a rag behind. But let's not talk about silly flesh, soft skin religions. No, let's talk about the real reason we are all here: to get rich. And they point you towards this shore line here, where there's a couple more of their kin. And you notice that they have like a big blanket out, and where there's just a bunch of different gemstones just laid out on like a beach blanket, basically.
Okay.
And the lizard folk are like, yes, we come from the scales, where the island is rich in these deposits, but the mining is perilous. And so we have been sent to recruit, bring in those that would like to earn some of the treasure that they mine for themselves. So you help us by working, but some of what you uncover, you get to keep. It's a fair trade, no?
Are there any power in these gems of yours?
The power to buy things.
Power of wealth.
Or the power to woo others.
I'm loaded up with a azurite crystal. I politely declined this particular offer, at least for Varanus.
Well, if you are not, if you ever become interested in the future, seek out our ships. And he sort of points a clawed, scaled hand, and you notice, yeah, one ship, the ship in particular, has emerald green sails with a black Ouroboros
Does it
design.
Does it have a red flag on it?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Target.
On second, perhaps in speaking with the crew, I don't mean to impose, but if there were any chance we could come aboard and discuss working with you, I'd be open to that.
Come aboard?
Ready to steal. He's like,
You cannot discuss it on shore?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, there are lots of things. Jesus, Blake. Lots of.
Oh, sorry, I blew some hair off my. Did it make a loud noise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
My eardrums will recover in time, I think.
wow, I literally just
But no, I was just saying to the guy, like, well, there are lots of prying ears and eyes. And sort of maybe with my hood all pulled up and whatnot, I'm like, I hope you can understand that I'm a creature of discretion.
Yes, but we are honest businessmen. We don't. This is not a shady deal. What are you so paranoid of? Though they then suddenly look around, they're like, "Oh yes, the red shadow has been flying around."
Not all are so welcome here. But never you worry. take care. And I'm like doing the whole like play hard to get thing. Like if this guy doesn't want to invite us on board, I don't really give a shit. So I just kind of like
Sure.
put it in my do.
Well, why don't you give me either a deception or persuasion check, sort of how you're playing this one.
You know, I think I'm being deceptive.
Okay. Plenty of story points still, of course.
Yeah, why not? Or you know what though? I don't know if this is really worth it. I think
David,
I'll just.
I'll augment your roll.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll normal. Well, 9.
Yes, I think going back to the ship is a little much. We don't want to pack up all our stuff here. You see, and he sort of gets this this weird. You know, you're not dealing with them as squarely as they want, right?
That's
Something's
very
off.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just phase into the crowd and leave them be.
All right. So yeah, by the time you guys, your two sort of groups get back together, right? You share, share your story, share your findings.
Yeah, catch everybody up on everything. Did we say that we've, in theory, purchased all the things we were going to purchase during this time too?
In theory, but I don't
Like
think
the
it was
stuff we were
made
talking about earlier.
100%. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to purchase those things,
I'll post in the Discord at least the stuff that we had talked about up to that point and what it would cost by the calculation. It doesn't include like the potions or some of the other things we considered, but I think those are like
I might
the major
need some
things.
financial aid, Jen. I'd like to get some. I want to get some health kits.
Yeah. How much? I'll hook you up. I mean, tell me how much you need.
Yeah, I don't know how much those run.
I got you.
I need to see it on my notes.
Well, yeah, it seemed like after all the big purchases, right? You guys probably had around 1,600 left.
Ooh, I also have that Mirager's sand. I have 5 pounds of it. I forgot to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh, that could wait. Is that the stuff that turns us invisible?
And I have 9
No.
gemstones. So I have quite a bit of gold. Or I should
Yeah,
have.
right. You guys do have stuff. The Mirager sand, right? You could find a buyer here, but there could, a sort of more directly magical connoisseur might take more interest.
What I'm interested in is
I have 9 gemstones.
Yeah.
So, if I could convert maybe one, how much are the healer's kits?
I'm pretty sure they're cheap.
It was 10 gold.
Yeah.
10 gold?
Yeah, what's the max you can carry?
5 gold.
Oh, 5
for a healer's kit. Yeah.
Okay. I think 10. So I'm gonna get 10. Can I convert one of the gems, or like sell it?
You can trade a gem for 10 worth of healer's kits. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically you trade it for a little crate, a crate, right? A cargo crate worth of bandages, ointments, unguents, incense, leeches. Cool. Yeah. All sorts of shit. Yeah, that's easy enough.
Okay.
Yeah, normal healing potions, right, of course cost 50 gold per, but if you want to buy them in bulk, right, because maybe you could get a discount.
What if we were to get, say, like...
If you buy me more healer's kits, those are a lot cheaper. I can't carry them all, but I can use them.
It's true.
Yeah, I'll spend
But other people
gold.
can use potions.
True.
Yeah, I think we should get potions.
I think a potion is definitely good to have in a pinch, like having one, but that's expensive. You can get 10 healer's kits for that, and if I can get to you in combat, I'll heal you.
Well, let's see. I mean, I'm down to buy extra healing kits just to have back on the ship.
Well, he bought enough. He has 100 uses of healing kits now.
Yeah, guys, he doesn't need more healers kits. I want to
Wait a minute, I only bought 10.
Oh, I thought you bought 10 healers kits. Right?
Yeah, you bought 10 healers kits.
Yeah, each healer's kit has 10 uses.
Charges.
Oh, that's what I'm. Okay. I didn't realize they had charges. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to buy 10 uses of a healer's kit, not 100 healer's kits. But I will take 100 healer's kits. I do that. Never mind. You don't need any more healers.
Well, why don't we?
No, you bought 10 healers kits, so you got 100 uses of those.
From what I have here, we have
sir.
we have 1,380 gold. Do we want to spend any of that group money on potions, or should we spend it on like a ship weapon, or what?
Let's get at least a couple potions, like at least.
Yeah, they're good to have.
Right,
So,
you can buy 5.
How much? Yeah. Well, how much was a potion? Sorry.
50 each for the basic version.
Yeah, let's get 5.
Okay, so minus.
But if someone wants me to wants to make a persuasion check, to perhaps strike better deal. Bungo,
Sure.
maybe.
I could try to charm the
or
salesperson. I'm not very charming.
No.
Really?
So
You
yeah,
gotta
they
lift that helmet up.
they're like I don't like doing business with people I can't see their faces.
No masks in this store. Get out of here.
But
Well,
you can have them for the normal price.
All right, fair enough.
So 250 for that lot.
that puts us down to 1,130 gold.
That's still plenty enough to buy a ballista upgrade.
Yeah.
Or
like a ballista
even
upgrade or another ballista.
either or both.
Oh, and also, is the idea that each of us carry a healing potion on us since we got 5?
Yes.
Okay.
So everybody put a healing potion in your inventory. Yay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll almost certainly forget. All right. So how much is What are we doing? How much is this ballista?
Well,
I was
maybe
thinking,
we can.
What if we did the harpoon?
Or we could do that.
Yeah, I'm cool with any of that.
I mean, harpoons sound cool as fuck.
It does.
Yeah, I'm interested in it has some extra utility if you kind of think about it.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it sounds like everyone is into that. Cost 200 and
Yeah, just 200.
Add additional extras. Oh no, that's different. Yeah, I mean, sounds good to me.
Did we get those bilge pumps?
No, those are bilge pumps are 2,500 gold.
It needs like 50 yards to
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think those bilge pumps those are a special gnomish design, very very rare in these parts.
Proprietary gnomish work, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Captain, what do you think? Do you sign off on this harpoon?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I think getting weapons is great, but I also think that, you know, the big boomsticks that the Blacklist are, well, what kind of armaments do these, like, what's the best way to fight a dragon? Or, like, I don't know, I almost feel like we're moving past the
Now you're talking Willing.
What will we need for the next phase of our adventure? Let's do some strategy planning here. Like Porter's 5 Forces strategy, not like a tactics game. Like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
ballista are probably the best against dragons, considering the normal weaponry, because they, like mangonels and trebuchets, right? They're a little too inaccurate, right? They really need stationary targets. The harpoon is just lower range and lower damage. So against dragon might not be as good. So ballista is a pretty good option. You guys could also potentially pay more or slash, recruit to increase the crew rating, the CR or CQ quality of the crew you have, so that they'll be able to perform their abilities better. So you could either up their pay by 15 gold a month. Of course, that'd be for next month. But if you agree to pay them more, they'll work harder, basically.
How many ballista can the wind or ballistae? Ballistae? What's the that's the plural form of ballista? Okay, ballistae. Yeah. How many of those can the wind successfully carry? One on the stern.
That's hard to say because you're not necessarily a military sailor. That said, the wind it's not built as a fighter, right? It's built as a runner. Right. It's built for speed more than combat. But you could at least get 2 solid emplacements. So 1 stern, 1 aft, and maybe even 1 midship, but maybe that, again, might take more conversion or might be limited in what kind of weapon, so forth. But that's the good use of batteries, right? You can, if you have a fore and an aft, you can double up or add more to that battery rather than having it being a different point in the ship.
Got it. So we should add some more ballista to the. Let's add a battery to the bow. How much would that be to add a second ballistae there?
A second ballista costs another. It's 150, so it's the same as buying a second ballista.
Let's buy 2 more of them.
Let's see. So maximum, you guys can have actually 4 ballista. It looks like in total.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'd say probably you could divide them up pretty much 2 fore, 2 aft, or maybe one of those could go in the middle.
Well, let's buy 1 for forward, so we have 2 forward and then 1 aft.
And then what about the harpoon?
I'm less excited about the harpoon. I don't think. What would our use case for that be?
I had some ideas in mind about it. So first is that I don't disagree with your strategy or anything, but the reason for the harpoon was first off, it increases the range of things we can do. If you have ballista, all you have is a ballista. If you have a harpoon, you could use it to do something you wouldn't be able to otherwise do. The examples being, if there's a smaller ship than us that's trying to escape, maybe we can harpoon them and trap them, especially if they're part of the star or something. That's I would like to stop them from getting away. Damaging them is okay, but also that would sink them. Things like that. Also, I picture a world in which we harpoon someone and then I run across the rope.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Now the truth comes out.
Wow.
But is that any better than just throwing a grappling hook across?
No, and I can also, I can jump, I can teleport. It's not it's there's a lot of options.
I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Harpoons.
I think all that stuff is cool.
Harpoons can also get aquatic creatures, not just
Yes.
Well, I guess that's true. All right, we'll put a harpoon on the bow, and then on the stern we'll put the 2 ballista.
Okay, so we're buying 1 harpoon and 1 ballista because
we're not gonna be space left on the ship if we're doing this.
We can always sell something. We'll do 1
No,
harpoon.
you guys have plenty of cargo space.
Okay, all right, we're good then.
1 harpoon, 2 ballistae.
Wow.
That's so expensive.
You know what? We still have 780 gold in the group funds, even after that.
Should we sit on? I don't know when we're gonna get 2,500 gold again.
If you do want to upgrade your crew, that would cost. So you can get scurvy dogs, basically. You can pay. It'd be 50 gold pieces per 10 sailors, and you only have 6. So, and then you also increase their monthly wage by 5 each. So basically, for we'll call it 70 gold pieces, your crew quality score goes up 1 for the ship.
I think we should do that, and I think we should try to hire up to 10 crew, like 6 crew.
Hire
I think we
4
should
more crew.
Maybe 9 because there's 3 watches, but at least more of a full complement of crew.
All right, if
Sure.
we lock the 70 in, for sure, that's at 710. We have 710 gold to spend on recruiting new sailors.
Right. Which, I mean, basically they're going to cost 5 gold pieces up front to hire a new crew, and then of course it'll be 35 gold per month going forward.
So we may not want to empty ourselves out totally here, just because.
Right, because you will need.
Crew. We definitely do. I also have a bunch of like gold sequestered away for.
Of course you do.
Captain's discretion.
All right. So, what was the cost again of the? 70?
All right. So after the 70,
710.
The captain wants to hire 3 more hands. I think he said.
Yeah.
3 more hands.
Does that mechanically get us like another tier or something?
No, basically, after 18 crew members for your ship, including yourselves and the Phantom crew and stuff, your ship doesn't benefit anymore from crew unless you want to assign crew members to special positions, like to be a guard, whose then primary role is combat rather than crewing the ship. Right?
Okay. And how many does the Phantom crew give us?
The Phantom crew gives 10 right now, but every time Varanus's proficiency bonus increases, i.e. next level, it'll add more crew.
It'll add more. Okay. So yeah, let's hire 3 more. That'll give us 3 people on watch for each one.
Yeah, so that'll be 15 more gold pieces for now. But then, of course, after the month.
Hire some scurvy dogs.
Yep, hired scurvy dogs.
Puts us at 695 gold left over.
All right. Yeah.
Does anybody want like magic weapons or any like I don't know if there's magic weapons. Does anybody need like arms or armor?
I mean, I'm working on my gun stuff, so like.
Yeah, I have a magic weapon.
Do you have a second hand crossbow? Do you have your 2 hand crossbows, Bungo? You do, right?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone seems pretty good for their arms and armor right now. Right, yeah, and you don't have enough money to buy something magical at this point, unless you traded in some magic items already that you had. All right, so yeah, basically we can wrap up here. But what's the crew's next move?
Go to the tower.
So
So cool.
Tower. Get some
All right.
egg.
Going to
Climb
Giant
the
Spur.
Or maybe
Excellent.
some of us climb the spur and others of us steal a flag.
We might want to all be together for both of those.
I mean,
things.
climbing the Spur is not going to be a overnight. It's going to be a trek.
Okay.
The Spur is big, right? That's
Well, look, maybe we all tackle the Giant Spur, and then we could got plenty of time on our trek to fine-tune our heist plan. And then before we hightail it out of here, we'll hopefully snatch up one of those flags.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we sign off, we'll just give a little nice little preview for what's in store to come now that we have started Adventure 3 of Voyage of the Fallen Star. We are now in the Pillar of the Giants.
Woohoo! And I
And so-
believe that is Lux herself on the cover.
That makes
Perhaps,
sense.
perhaps not.
Gold adornments, or perhaps
She has horrible taste in jewelry.
Also, you notice that is the giant spur in the background, so you can get a little more
Little
visual.
tall.
but we definitely need one of those flags. Like,
Zach, is
Yes.
the Spur constructed? Can you clearly tell if it's constructed or if it's natural?
You haven't gotten
It's a
close
giant
enough to
sculpture.
tell. Yeah.
Okay, well, wait. till we
But
get
I mean,
there.
right. Historically speaking, and from what Bungo and Varanus, like, they're pretty sure the myths are at least somewhat factual that giants did build this thing.
Oh,
But, yeah, it definitely is not a natural structure, for sure.
got it.
All right. And on that note, thank you everybody for joining us, for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
See y'all.
See ya, everyone, later. Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.